Honeybees. They may seem like a sweet topic, but here's the sting.
Honeybee populations around the world are falling prey to what is known as colony collapse disorder, where worker bees suddenly disappear from the affected colonies.
They just disappear. That's it. You're there one day and you go to see your bees the next day and there's nothing there.
It's a very serious threat to the continued existence of the honeybee, but very little is known about what causes colony collapse disorder. Malnutrition, mites, and parasites have all been suggested, but there's also the possibility it's being caused by pesticides.
I think there's grave concern amongst beekeepers about the use of the neonicotinoids in particular.
Neonicotinoids are highly persistent neurotoxic insecticides. They are systemic, meaning the substance is taken up by the roots of the plants, making them toxic from the inside. There are 4 widely used neonicotinoids, including one available to buy at any supermarket in Australia, imidacloprid. Several studies released in April and May 2012 point to a link between agricultural pesticides such as imidacloprid and colony collapse disorder. A Harvard study tested hives dosed with imidacloprid and found that after 23 weeks, 15 out of the 16 hives had died, with symptoms matching those found in colony collapse. In Australia, the majority of neonicotinoids are sold by Bayer. Bayer has been scathing in its review of the Harvard study.
Well, actually, we were very surprised how poor that study was done. And I should say we're not the only ones. If you look at a lot of comments on that study, you recognize that the initial study that they did, so the original ideas that they had when they did their study, looked okay. But the trouble is that when they actually did that work, that initial work, they didn't find any effects. So what they did was they actually increased the dosage of imidacloprid that these bees were exposed to way above what a bee would ever be exposed to in the field.
However, this hasn't stopped countries like Italy, Germany, and France from suspending and even banning the use of neonicotinoids.
But why not Australia?
Waiting on evidence, I think.
This focus on pesticides as being, the cause of poor bee health really risks detracting from or distracting people from the really big problems.
Bayer is of course set to lose millions, if not billions, from potential lawsuits if these studies are correct. Yeah, so you believe that the current doses of imidacloprid that are in product at the moment are completely safe to bees?
If they're used responsibly, yes, of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed to use them.
So if these pesticides are so harmful, is it even necessary for farmers to be using them?
Any major crop from macadamias, rice, coffee can be and have been demonstrated to be grown organically when the ecological system is kept in balance. So I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think it's necessary to be using that type of insecticide.
Yes, I think steps will be taken because we can't afford to lose our agriculture industry.
The health of Australian bees is fantastic, and that is despite the fact that Australia has a very high usage of seed treatments, including imidacloprid.
Colony collapse disorder first came under the spotlight in 2006, when over half of the US honeybee colonies were wiped out by an unknown cause. The studies being released today are trying to figure out why, but for the moment, no research has been done on Australian bees specifically.
So there's a great deal of care and nurturing in the community for bees at this stage, and we'll just have to see how it goes as far as the parasites go and the colony collapse disorder goes.
The full Harvard report is to be published in the June 2012 issue of the Bulletin of Insectology. Damon Meredith, UTS.